Hey guys, what's up? This is Adam coming back at you with another Unity tutorial. And in this video, we're actually gonna get started on our first real game. We're gonna focus mainly in this video about animations and how the animator in Unity works. So let's just jump right into it. When you first want to start making a game, first thing you're gonna have to find is your characters. Just to make it easy, I searched Mario Sprite Sheet PNG. The PNG just means there's not going to be any background colors. Obviously, some like this come up. This isn't a PNG that you want. You want something where it's going to be spaced out, and I actually just had a good one. Really anything spaced out with, where'd it go? Yes, and not something like that. It was right down here. Anyways, I have it downloaded. Oh, it's right here. So yeah, you see how it's kind of checkered in the back. That just means that there's no background, and it will be easy to separate all of these from one another, which is going to be important when we actually bring the file into Unity. So find one that you like. It doesn't have to be Mario. It just makes it easier to find stuff that works. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a new project. And then right away, the first thing we're going to do is we're actually just going to make a ground for our character. Alright, and here we go. So, first thing we're going to do is make a folder. And we'll just call it Sprites. Sprites is just another word for all of these like characters on the screen. Just drag and drop whatever file you decided right back into here. First thing that we're going to do actually on the scene is just going to make a 3D object, make it a cube, and this will serve as the floor for our game. So stretch it out just a little bit like that. Alright, and some things that we're going to fix right away. Our sprites are 2D, and this cube is 3D, so they won't interact the right way to begin with. So we're actually just going to take off this box collider, and what we're going to do is we're going to add a 2D box collider, and just make sure it's, yep, so we're good. So this green right here is actually the collider, what our sprite's going to be colliding with. And we're also going to add a rigid body, 2D. And this just ensures that like all our sprites elect as we intend in a 2D space and not in a 3D space. And we don't want the floor to fall down, so no gravity. We can just make it static actually. So yeah, it's pretty much what static means, is that it'll never move. So if the floor's never going to move, just make it static. So now we have a place for our sprites to go. We can actually start working on the sprites. So you'll notice that whenever you load a PNG into Unity, you'll get this over here in the inspector, and the texture type sprites, and then sprite mode. So you could either load in a single sprite, or you could load in a sprite sheet, which is what we actually have here, which is just multiple sprites. And since it's not a single sprite, we're going to click multiple, and then don't worry about any of this right now. It'll do it for you. And then this is your sprite editor. So make it a little bit bigger. Alright. Now what we want to do is we want to get each of these sprites alone. So to do that, go over here to Slice, Automatic, make sure that the pivot center, and then just click Slice. And now what you'll notice is that it separated each and every one of these into their own sprite. And I'll show you in a second how you can animate all these. But I think we should be good here. Make sure I always click apply. Always click apply or else it won't save. And then you can always rename this. So, yeah, we're good in here. And so once you're done with that, you actually have sprite mode multiple and you separated all the sprites from the sprite sheet. You can actually click this little arrow here and all the different sprites that the sprite editor gave you or made will be in here. So let's make our first animation. So generally, it's a lot easier to start off with the animation that you're going to want the game to start out in. So you won't want Wario to start running right away. You'll want him to stand still. So if you just drag this in. Oh, it's tiny. Yeah, and okay, so another thing about these sprites is that lots of times you're going to have to either scale up the sprites or scale down the camera. Lots of times it probably works better to scale down the camera because let's say we make this like 20. It doesn't look as good. You see? So lots of times you scale down the camera and it might look small, but in the grand scheme of things it doesn't really matter because everything is proportional. So what we'll do is we'll bring this guy all the way over here. Doesn't really matter how big the floor is either, as long as you don't show all of it in the camera. And you know, just for the heck of it, just make it look a little bit nicer. We'll make that, and then we don't need it all the way over there, so just put it like right here. And looking good. So again, just to make sure it looks fine now, let's make the camera a little bit bigger. And this is a lot of game development, guys. I mean, you just gotta tweak with things, make sure you get them how you like them, or else if you're not happy with the game, who else is gonna be happy with your game, right? So let's just get this over here. And that's looking good. Alright. So we got the character on the screen. And let's see what happens when we click play. You'll notice that our character just stands there. And to fix that, we're going to add a rigid body 2D. And we're also going to add a box collider. Box collider 2D. And these things are essential really any sprite that you're going to add in. You're always going to want a collider around it to make sure that for collision detection it'll help out with jumping later, like we did in our ball video. And the rigid body to move it. So now when you click this, you'll notice it falls. And then what you want to do is you want to mess with the collider just a little bit. So you saw how he was standing, even when he was on the ground, he wasn't really touching the ground. So if you just mess with the collider a little bit, it should fix it. There you go. And now you see he's actually touching the ground instead of floating above. So things are looking good. Now we'll just start him on the ground so he doesn't fall to the ground every single time. And there we go. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to make the running animation. Now, before we do that, a good idea would be to make an idle animation. And what that does is it would just loop through this that we have right now until our character takes action, like walking, pressing A or D, stuff like that. So we're going to create an animation down here. And really quick, if you don't have the animation controller down here. Let me see where it is. Yeah, I think if you just click Command 6, or look on Windows what it would be, but if you go up to your window and then animation, you should be able to do it over here. So now you can have this brought up. We're going to create an animation. And, a good thing to do is probably just make an animations folder. Keep everything organized. I mean, if you don't do that, no one's going to be able to look at your work, take you seriously. Keep everything organized, guys. Good life skills. Come on. Alright. So, we'll save this as main or hero idle. And we're going to save that to animations. Alright. So now what you'll see is we have this animation controller, and then we have this animation. And in the animation controller, you'll see that on entry, we go to hero idle. And this over here is the animation. And in that animation, it's going to be very simple what we put for this one. We're just going to take the sprite that we started out with and put it in. Okay, that's cool. Alright, here we go. Whenever you want to edit an animation, just make sure you're always selected on your main character, or the thing that you want to animate. And now what this will do is it'll just loop through, so when we click play, you'll notice it stays the same in our eyes, right? But what's actually happening is on entry, it's going to hero idle and just looping through it every single frame. And we don't notice it because it's the same sprite, but that's what's actually happening behind the scenes that you can see over here in the animator controller, or animation controller. So next what we're going to do is, sorry, throat's dry. We're actually just going to get the walking animation. We're not going to do any code right now. We'll do that in the next video. But what we're just going to do is we're going to get the animation looking somewhat decent. So, let's look at the sprites that they gave us in this one. Make it a little bit more bigger. And, okay, so it looks like we just have 2 sprites for walking. Yeah, okay. So, what we're going to do is, in the animation tab down here, we're going to go to click on Hero Idle. Make sure you clicked on this guy. And then we're going to click Create New Clip. And we're just going to call this Hero Run. And let's see how this looks, because I'm not completely sure how it's going to look, because this is my first time looking at the sprite sheet. Might just have to make do with what we have, but... And then, again, just drag these in over here. Okay. Another thing, if you notice that played too fast, you couldn't even see it, bring down the samples. Lots of times it makes it look really smooth. 12, oh, not 1260. 12 is usually a pretty good number. Yeah, it looks like he's running. Let's even bring it down to 8 and see what happens. See, like that's a little too slow for me, personally. I don't think it looks smooth enough. Try 10. I like 10. So, that's a lot of this too. And look, he's walking. Look at that. So now that we have that happening, he's going to be walking. They obviously won't do anything yet, because when we come over into this animator, we don't have, here, let's stop this down here. We don't have him, the hero run, actually attach anything. You see how it's gray? That means that this will never run right now. So in the next video, I'm going to go through some of the logic about how we actually want to connect these in our animation controller, or in our animator, sorry, not animation controller, in our animator, and actually get the logic down behind it, because you don't want them to start running right away. You want them to go from idle to run, back to idle. And I'm going to teach you guys how to do that in the next video. So stay tuned, because it's going to be a 2-video kind of day. So be ready.